Our 2023 game plan for wholesaling real estate domination. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here.
Rick Ginn here.
And in today's video, we're going to break down exactly our 2023 game plan for wholesaling real estate success. And most importantly, how you can dominate your market, destroy your competition, and have the best year ever for wholesaling real estate. But before I break it down, you already know what to do. Make sure you all go out here and smash that like button, hit that subscribe button to get the best information from us. So hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, comment below your questions, and we want to actually hop on here and talk to you guys on exactly how to make 2023 your best year ever. Now, there's going to be a lot of changes in 2023 as from 2022, but if you can figure out exactly what to do, how to pivot, and exactly the right strategies, it's going to be probably the best year of your life for wholesaling real estate. What you have to understand is when the real estate market changes, we as wholesalers, we don't own the real estate. It doesn't really affect us. When markets actually change, it works really well, right? So like you look at day traders, for example, right? Do they make money when stocks just go the same?
Nope.
No, when there's crazy volatile days where the price goes up and down, it goes nuts. That's actually when you make the most money as a day trader. And in wholesaling real estate, we're very similar to that, right? Because we don't really own this. See, day trading is interesting because you buy and sell.
Yeah.
We actually don't own the real estate. So if we mess up, let's say you buy a stock at 100, it goes down to 50, we don't lose that money. We just get out of the contract. And that's a pretty interesting part about wholesaling real estate. You know, we're basically day trading houses without any problems. It's like option contracts. And so you're looking at this in wholesaling real estate. It's like, so if I can get all the benefits of being a day trader with all the volatility of the real estate market, but the downsides aren't really there. If my intentions are good, I got cash buyers and like that, you could make a ton of money, right? And that is the point, guys. A lot of wholesalers are going to zig where you should have just zagged. And we're going to teach you exactly how you should really make your moves in 2023 so you can destroy your competition, get the most amount of money for your wholesaling deals, and ultimately dominate, right?
Yeah, because the volatility is going on in the real estate market. We're not like day traders in the financial sector where they have to randomly try to figure out with software and their own guesses to make up that difference between high and low prices. In real estate, when you have that volatility, there's two things that happen. Fear takes over in the market, and the uncertainty creates people they want to make very fast decisions. And when people want to sell their house, it's got some issues and they want to move fast, you can't push that button like you do in a stock. What do they have to do? Contact someone like a wholesaler, whoever can get in contact with these people. I don't care if it's phone call, text, mail, whatever it is. If you can have an educated discussion with them and understand what you're doing, this is how we make money in wholesaling. It is not like day trading. We are basically looking to add value to people's life. By us adding value, meaning finding distressed properties and then selling them the equitable interest, the contract to our cash buyers, that's how we make our spread. We do not depend on the market to make our spread. You, the wholesaler, makes the spread, and that's what we're going to emphasize today.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to break down. That's why we're excited. That's why we're jacked up. So before we get into it, do us a big favor. Make sure y'all go to freewholesaling.com. Make sure you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and we're ready to go. It's wholesale time, baby.
Let's do it. Go.
Woo!
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and get the guy go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
All right, guys, we're ready to go. So let's break down our 2023 game plan for success. let's break down exactly how to dominate and everything you need to know. So let's just get in the nitty gritty, guys. Let's get in the important stuff you need to know, and let's break it all down. So let's share the first part here. So the first thing I think we got to understand about 2023 when it comes to dominating in wholesaling real estate is, here's the first part, right? No way to sugarcoat it. Most likely real estate prices are going to be going down. Now, it's not going to be going down 15, 20, 40% most likely. We're going to see some gradual changes, but, we might have a difference of opinion, but it's not going to go down 50%. Like, it's not going to be a crazy crash. If you look at the experts, they're all predicting what? Maybe 5 or 10% below, but nothing too crazy, right?
Depends on like who you listen to. The reality is nobody knows exactly where it's going to be, and I would not obsess over it. As a wholesaler, honestly, change is good. What change does is it allows people to make decisions. So whenever people have a change in life, which we always talk about the two things that will always get somebody motivated, it's time and circumstance. So we definitely have a circumstance here.
Yeah.
And then we've had time gone by. So when this happens, it just creates an opportunity. It's a lot different than the financial market when you do the real estate. Anytime people go through changes, they make decisions. What do we got coming up in December? We have the holidays. We just got through Thanksgiving, everything like that. And when it comes to the end of the year, everyone wants to make resolutions. They want to make change to better their lives. And why not have us, the wholesalers, help them accomplish that?
And yeah, that's the point. So I think the first thing we got to understand is don't panic. All right. I think this is the biggest issue I think a lot of new wholesalers have. And you got to remember that the gurus actually feed off you panicking. They feed off your emotions to sell you on a $4,000, or $5,000, $6,000 course. So I want you guys to understand that outside of us, you're probably going to get panicked, right? People are going to give you panic because, unless you pay me 10 grand, unless you go join the program or do this little thing or whatever, this JV program, whatever it is, they're going to strike fear and panic in you for 2023, get you riled up emotionally so you can go out here and they can get a sale off of you. I just want you guys to understand that when people talk about 2023, they're going to try to get you riled up. A lot of people, I think I got 5 ads on Facebook today when I was going through the group of people panicking, telling you that wholesaling is dead and that my creative financing thing is going to be the best thing. And I'm like, I didn't even know who this person was. And I'm like, I've never heard of this person before. And now they're trying to panic me. Like, it's ridiculous. But I just want you guys to understand that, like, everybody around you in wholesaling that's trying to take money from you, they're going to panic you to get money from you. The people that really don't want your money, that are actually legit in this business and make a ton of money, they're not going to panic you. They're going to tell you what's working and what to do, right?
Either they have a quality product and it should stand on its own, and the price, whatever it is, if they have a price, it's transparent. But listen, guys, whenever it's not transparent or people say you only have to use like these people, like that's not free choice. And honestly, there's never one person in this business that just knows like everything. Some people know a little bit more than others. So don't panic. If you ever feel panic, I always tell people, what do you do? Like when my football team's struggling, I hope my team, Miami Dolphins, you go back to the basics: tackling, blocking, simplify it. Whenever things get overwhelming, you panic, I always tell people, go back to wholesaling. Wholesaling is what you want to do. And wholesaling is the fundamentals of all real estate investment transactions. So if you're struggling, you know what to do, just start with wholesaling. If you try this creative thing, which we love doing creative financing, you have to understand all the deals come through your wholesaling funnel, meaning all your marketing you do. The other skill sets you'll acquire as you learn. How do you learn? Talk to a ton of people, and you just go through the motions, and eventually within a year or two, you will be a master at this craft. All from wholesaling, guys.
Yeah, it's 100% true. But guys, don't panic about it. So yeah, I don't know about products Guru sell. I don't promote that. We don't think those are good. But I could tell you there's some good softwares out here, but like everyone's going to panic you for 2023. And what we're going to tell you is don't panic. And I use sports analogies, and some people don't like those, but it's absolutely true that like you're playing a game of football. Okay. Actually, okay. I can't put NBA. We'll put like honestly, we'll do a soccer analogy, right? We've got World Cup going on. So if you're playing soccer and somebody's running, a 4-2-2 or like how they do the attacks, right? I'll use football for you because you'll get lost.
And then you get confused between
all right, so they're playing football, okay?
Okay.
If the defense is doing a zone and you've been doing man you've been doing plays against the man coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to absolutely panic, fold, and then just like run in corner and you'll be not successful? A lot of other people are just going to fold under that pressure. Like, okay, I see it's zone because they run the person in motion. Okay, well, it's zone. So I'm just going to change my plays. The same thing in wholesaling. In 2023, everyone's used to playing man defense. Let's switch it. Now it's zone. So guess what we're going to do? We're just going to hear some plays that are going to work a little better on zone. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to really figure out. I want people to understand that. It's like, hey, I know it's going to rain. Let me bring my umbrella. You still have a great time, right? Like it's so funny out here that, you know, once there's a little market shift, people freak out. They flip out. They don't know what to do. And honestly, this is pretty much expected, right? This is how real estate works, because real estate goes up, it goes down. Guys, this is the best opportunity ever. And I'm going to explain a little more why this is the best opportunity ever. Because I think a lot of wholesalers are getting really frustrated in 2022, 2021 of like every seller wanting $1 million for the house. They wanted all this stinking money for their house, and it sucked and it was terrible, and everyone just complained to me. Now those same people come to me and complain that real estate's going down. What do I do? And it's just always funny because wholesaling real estate is honestly a zero-sum game. And what do I mean by that? It's a zero-sum game. There is an interesting game in wholesaling real estate, and it's kind of a teeter, right? Like there's always the shifts of balance in real estate, and especially in the market's amazing, where in wholesaling real estate, some markets, it's really easy to find deals, and it's a little harder to find cash buyers. So the difficulty changes. And then some markets, it's really easy to find cash buyers, usually when real estate goes up, and it's harder to find deals. And now what we're doing is the teetering is not flipped. It hasn't really flipped, but what it did is just, it got a little closer. And so maybe the difficulty used to be finding deals and cash buyers were easy. Finding deals got a little easier, but finding cash buyers got a lot more difficult, not a decently amount difficult. So it's not a complete flip, and we don't know if it's going to flip, but things have changed a little, right? And the scales of balance, because it's actually right now in this market, it's gotten way easier to find deals. And because of that, guess what the counterbalance weight of that? Harder to find buyers.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We have the internet. And this is in 2010, 11, or 12, where the internet wasn't in its prowess for real estate, where it was so easy and available to find cash buyers. There were some old school strategies we'll teach you guys today about it, but like the scales of balance has netted to actually getting more money and more profit. Because if you can learn how to find buyers the right way, which they're actually pretty easy, gurus don't teach you it because they want to keep you broke, but they want to take your money. But it is the best time and opportunity to get into wholesaling, because it is honestly still a very decent time to find cash buyers, but it's an amazing opportunity to find deals. So for 2023, at worst, we see real estate prices going down 1 or 2% a month. So it might go down, 10%, 12%, might go down 20%. But most experts don't see it going down more than 5 to 10%. And I know you have your own opinions on things, but like, honestly, nobody knows.
Yeah.
But if it really goes down 10%, it's not going to affect you too much.
So the only person it affects is your end customer, which is your cash buyer. And you remember how sellers had an unrealistic expectation of what they wanted to sell their homes for at the peak of the market? Now you have the opposite going on with your cash buyers. They're like, well, it's going to drop another 20%. I need 6 months holding cost. And so they're being a little extreme. Now, some of them are somewhat legit, but you have to hear them out, because remember, you have to strike a balance between getting a motivated seller and now you got to get a realistic cash buyer. And that's the challenge we're dealing in this market. Let me give you an example. Like the fear, everyone's like, oh my God, mortgage interest rates are going to go to 10%. You see that all the time. Do you guys know what mortgage interest rates are right now? They're like 6.5 to 6.75 as we shoot this. And yes, they're going up, but they're not 10%. Like, it's fear takes it over. Why? Because it drives sales for everything. So I just approached it with the market change. So it went up like 0.5. So
it's 7 right now.
It's still slightly below 7. And I'm telling you, like, dude, I used to have like my own mortgages at like 8 and 9%. Now I know the numbers are different, but I'm telling you guys, don't buy into the panic. Nobody knows where the end is. Eventually the Fed will ease up on raising these interest rates. And the idea is when they get to like a neutral part, they'll probably, in my opinion, is bring the rates back down around 5.5%. Not a big deal. So long as I think 7.25, 7.5 is going to be the max we're going to. So 10% is not realistic. What I'm trying to tell you is don't buy into these fear models because they get your attention. They sell a lot of stuff. And the reality is your biggest fear in your back of your head rarely ever comes true. The same thing in the real estate market. So when real estate markets are going down, we're talking the 1 to 2%, which it's doing now, is they don't go down forever. How long they're going to go down for? I do know it will probably be 12, maybe 18 months, but I think that's going to be about it. And then we're going to get back to a more balanced market. So it doesn't matter if it's dropping, going up, or staying the same. We are in a zero-sum game. Wholesaling, we are finding value add opportunities.
Yep, exactly. So what I can tell you next here is this is a big thing. This is a big thing you guys got to understand. But in wholesaling real estate, buyers have gained the power. And buyers have gained the power in this market like crazy because back then, buyers really didn't have the power, right? You could really talk smack to your cash buyers and really, say whatever you wanted. But the honest truth is you can't do that anymore. And a lot of gurus and influencers said, treat your cash buyers like trash and run through all of them and don't build the real relationships, right?
Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
You can't do that anymore, right? Like I've said, the teetering has changed, but you have to treat your cash buyers a lot better. And people have been treating their cash buyers as subhuman for the past couple of years.
Like employees. It's crazy.
Well, not like employees, but they've been treating them pretty bad, right? Yeah. Okay, I'll bid it up with the next guy. And for cash buyers right now, you have to treat them like you're treating your sellers. And what I mean by this, it's always a good thing to do is to treat your cash buyers like human beings. That's always a nice thing to do. Yeah. But treat your cash buyers like sellers. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is you follow up with your sellers. You actually build a real relationship with them. And this is the weirdest part. You actually care about them. You actually care about what they think, what they say, their motivations, what their goals are for things. And once you build that relationship, when you send over a deal, they're going to be like, more likely to actually want to buy the deal from you, right?
Yep.
And it happens. It's crazy.
Guys, you got to take care of the cash buyer. Honestly, you should have never been blowing them off and treating them like that to begin with. And if you have, you're going to have to fix it. But if you're just getting started in wholesaling, the cash buyer is your ultimate customer. I know you can't do it without the motivated teller, but you need to understand that. So
yeah, you got to hop off.
Yeah, I'm going to hop off for a few minutes. I'll take care of something. I'll be right back.
I think you got to sign something. We got some notary stuff we have to get going today. And as you know, with notaries, they like to come up here and they like to be like, okay, you know what? This is the only time we can go. And so he's got to hop off real quick, get some things signed. Rental property drama. I'll tell you that. All right. I think we're getting 4 or 5 roofs put on. And so we got all the notaries lined up for it. So it's a mess, but all right, Rick will be on probably 30 minutes. So he'll be back on, don't worry. But one thing I can tell you guys again is treat your buyers like sellers. And once you start building relationships with them, actually caring what they have to say, caring exactly what their goals are, and really following up with them, you will actually make a lot more money. And, Kay's got a good one here, treat everyone nice, right? And I think so many people treat their cash buyers like, I'll just bid it up. We'll just bid up with the next buyer. The other buyers can buy this. Guys, treat them like real human beings. And when a lot of people say, my cash buyers won't buy my deals, and I ask why they won't buy the deal, well, they're going to say, no, it's not, the prices don't work. It's not good. But if you build that relationship, they'll explain to you why it doesn't work. And maybe the next time when you got a tight deal, they actually take it. And kind of like Rick was saying, cash buyers are, quote unquote, they're pretty much like customers, right? Because we are in the business of not selling real estate, right? We actually sell contracts to buy real estate. And who is buying our contracts? The cash buyers. So if you treat them like trash, it ain't going to do well. Now, some businesses where there's limited edition. So, you think of Supreme, right? You think of all the Supreme hype beast guys, right? They'd be like, okay, we're selling it this time. We got 200. Go in line. We'll sell to the first 200. Whatever. No care, right? And then you might go to another place where they treat you like a superstar and they try to sell you and do all this crazy. Supreme doesn't do that. The demand's high enough for them, right? But when you got another place that they're trying to sell you really nicely and they got salesmanship and all this stuff, right? It's a little different, like buying a suit, like a luxury suit or something, right? So you got to treat your buyers like your sellers and just treat them with dignity, respect, know their goals, know their relationship, and still be firm with them, right? Like you can't let a buyer run over you, right? You can't let a seller run over you. These rules still stay tried and true for 2023, but it is true that buyers have gained a lot more power. And if you treat them like regular human beings, you're going to be fine, right? The next part here is like I've said before, but there will be more deals. And what do I mean by there will be more deals? What I mean by this is in wholesaling real estate, there's actually going to be a lot more motivated sellers out here because especially with things going down, with the prices going down, more people are going to panic. And if they got their ugly houses, they're most likely just want to sell it now before it loses more value. And this is going to lead to a lot more contracts being written. There's going to be a lot more deals being done, which means if you have the buyers already set up, you're actually going to sell more deals than ever. And this is why I've been telling everyone, keep the buyers going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. But hey, some people don't want to do that. And that's okay, right? But I just want everyone to understand that there's going to be more deals. And to understand there's going to be more deals, this leads us to the next point here, which we're only going to want to deal with actual motivated sellers. We're only going to want to deal with people that are actually motivated, actually people that need to sell their property, people that want to sell their property and need to. They actually have a real motivation for it. I think a lot of wholesalers out here, they don't have, a lot of wholesalers out here will talk to a seller and the motivation's not really there. You're going to be wasting your time. And that time can be spent with cash buyers. That time can be spent with offering more sellers and dealing with actual people that want to sell the property, right? If you want to dominate in 2023, you are going to have to care more about your buyers, spend more time with your buyers, deal with only motivated leads, right? Understand the opportunity that you have. And so I think, I would say probably like here, I would probably put at least 25% more time into finding buyers. And maybe you're not taking that away from your marketing to a point, but you just got to get more efficient with it, right? If you spend about 25% more time with your cash buyers, following up, talking to them, doing things like that, it's going to be very important. So figure out if you're spending 4 hours a week last year on cash buyers, I'd probably up that to 5. And the reason why, and is just because cash buyers do have a lot more power. Because it is easier to find deals, I would probably spend more time in this. And this is not an excuse to find cash buyers first and then the deal. I think everybody still should find the deal first and then the cash buyer. But hey, to each their own, right? But really got to figure it out exactly the which way you want to do it the right way. But I would probably spend more time with cash buyers. Next part here is just creating your LAO. And what is your LAO, right? Rick talked about this the other day, and this is a huge one. But a lot of wholesalers care about their MAO. That is the only thing that they ever focus on. That is the only thing they ever care about. And they calculate it to a T. They get it. They do it to the decimal, to the exact penny, how much their MAO is going to be. And they pretend that they are perfect on their comps and no one else can do it. And their MAO is $102,267.47. And then, to the fourth power squared on a 0.0 penny, and they think no cash buyer will. Guys, it's so stupid. Okay, it's like creating an MAO for a pound of cheese at the grocery store. All right, the pound of cheese, the MAO, the most I'm going to sell this cheese for is $3 for a pound of Swiss cheddar. And maybe at Kroger it's $3.50, but like I go to Walmart it's $2.50, and then I go to like Whole Foods and it's $5. Like, it's the same piece of cheese, but someone at Whole Foods is going to pay $5 for it. Someone at Walmart's paying $2.50, and someone at another store is paying $3.50 for it. It's like, but I thought my MAO was $2.50. Well, someone at Whole Foods just bought it more, but someone at Walmart bought it lower. You don't know how much the property is going to sell for. You actually don't know what the MAO is. The point of the MAO is really, honestly, just to shoot a best guesstimate of what to offer. And so you guys out here that are doing perfect calculations for every single property, it's not true. And I hate to say this, but for most wholesalers, if you just make an LAO and just offer and then really negotiate the best price possible, it's going to be best. And what is LAO? But LAO is the least allowable offer. And Rick talked about this Friday, and I think a lot of people got confused with it, right? I had one guy yesterday say his LAO is 50% of what the thing's worth, and I probably would not put that there, right? My definition for LAO is honestly 20% of the MAO. So let's kind of do a calculation here, right? And I think LAO is different for everybody, But really, we're going to look at this and you can see it. So if my MAO for a property is 250 grand, I'm just going to multiply that by 0.8, and that's probably going to be my LAO. And if you want to do a quick guesstimate on it, I would put LAO for any property above 200,000. I would probably put 50 or 60 below that, right? Now, if there's extraordinary circumstance, things like that, sure. But LAO should be what you're focusing on. If you focus more what your initial offer is going to be and not what the MAO is, it's going to help you out so much more. Right now, you should have an MAO. And I think everybody watching this should have one. But like to a point, you should probably focus more on lowballing the seller than anything. Because I see a lot of wholesalers just focus on that. Oh, it's my MAO going to be. Guys, focus on what you're going to offer. And you're going to be shocked. Now, you guys see me do my live cold calling. You see me go out here and get $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 price reductions because I could care less what the MAO is, or I could care less about exactly what the listing price is. I care about just lowballing them and seeing the reaction to it. So if I can figure out someone's motivation, I can gauge how much I'm going to lowball them. And if you can start caring about what your LAO is, what you're uncomfortable with offering to a motivated seller, you're going to do well, right? And I think a lot of wholesalers, they get very confused. They get very stressed out, right? And I think you got to come out here and just realize that you don't know how much someone's going to buy your property for. Sorry, buy your contract for the property. You don't know what it's going to be. Nobody out here knows exactly how much someone's going to pay for a deal. That's really out of your control. What's in your control is getting the property for the lowest price possible. And how do you get the property for the lowest price possible? You lowball. You actually go out here and do the lowballing strategies. You find the LAO. You figure that out. So now LAO is a rough guesstimate too. I would say 20% of the MAO should be your LAO. But on top of that too, maybe take 50K off the top and use that for profit, right? Worst case scenario, they say yes, you make a ton of money. Worst case scenario, you negotiate from there. You just think about it, if you do it really low LAO, and you can't offend a seller too much with it, right? Like one guy had I'm using him for an example, but he had a MAO of 400,000. And so he just cut that in half at 200,000. Guys, if the property is worth 460 grand and you offer 200,000 for it, it's really hard. And I'm just being honest with you. It's really hard, even with the lowball strategies we have, to get something accepted. So if you're offering, what is it? 200 divided by 450 minus 200. If you're offering 44 cents on the dollar of what the thing's actually worth, like worth to a cash buyer, it's like you're going to get laughed out and you're really going to burn your relationships. And I talked to even more people yesterday, right? And that's why I like doing my one-on-ones. I like having kind of a touch and feel in the market. But a lot of you guys out here too are trying to send these insanely high offers to your cash buyers, thinking that one of them is going to be a sucker who's going to buy it for that crazy high price. Because I do a lot of JV, like I get a lot of JV deals sent to me. If somebody sends me a deal that's just way too high and they're just trying to make a 40, 60, 80K check off of me, I'm just going to probably block them. And I'm just being completely honest with you. If you send me a deal and you locked it up for 100 and you say, Zach, we can split anything above 180. And I know you locked it and like the number, it's even worth 150 and you're just trying to find a sucker. I don't want to deal with you. You're just wasting my time. And a lot of cash buyers, once you waste their time, they're going to burn your relationship with them, right? So make sure the cash buyer makes some money on the deal. And I think you start doing that thing, your relationships are going to change. You're going to stop, quote unquote, struggling to find buyers after you burn them so much. It's insane, right? And I think so many wholesalers out here, they get so offended, right? And so, yeah. So I'll tell you, he did talk about 50% of ARV, but it's relative to what your ARV is. So if the ARV is, all right, so I want people to understand this, okay? If your ARV is $100,000, okay, and you offer 50% of that, you got to understand. So if it's 100,000, but repairs are, let's say for an example, 35,000, 0.8, that's 52. That's your MAO 52. So that works. But if I have a $500,000 property and then I multiply that, so I minus off 500,000, I multiply 40K in repairs, multiply that by 83%. If I have an MAO of 381 and I offer 250, it's not going to be that's way too low of an LAO. But if I have a $100,000 house and it needs 40K in repairs, and I multiply that by 0.7, it changes, right? So what he's saying is, Rick's trying to give you one equation for all. And what he means on that is, if your ARV is below probably 200, you can make that work, right? Like most of the properties we deal with in wholesaling. But I just want you to understand, this is the problem I think a lot of people get is they think that a property worth 60, 70, 80, 90, 100,000 ARV is going to equate the same thing if I'm in San Bernardino, California, and I'm going to offer 100,000 for a house I know is worth 750 ARV. Like, guys, things are changing everywhere, right? And you just got to understand that. That's why when people go and tell you that 70% rule works for everything, it's like, so if I have a $2 million house, I have to use 70%. Like, it doesn't work like that, okay? I think a lot of wholesalers get that really confused. So just be careful with your LAO. Yes, that 50% works, but once your ARV gets to a certain point, it's not going to work. And there's not a one-size-fits-all approach to real estate. If every house was worth the same amount of money and they're all the same, sure, but it's all different. And I want you guys to understand the offer formula we have stays the same. There are slight adjustments that we always do make, but really the ones we've been talking about really do stay the same. The problem I see with a lot of people is their ARVs are too high. So the reason why gurus and coaches and influencers and legit real estate wholesalers will just tell you a 70% rule because they assume you're stupid. And what do I mean by that? They assume you don't know how to run comps. So they assume when you look at comps, you're looking at comps from 8-9 months ago, and that you assume that a 3-2 sold for $400,000 10 months ago, that you're assuming that's the ARV. And most wholesalers do that because they don't understand it. You have to take back. So if a property 10 months ago sold for $400,000, most likely it's worth 370, 360 right now because of the change of the market. And when you don't make that adjustment, the 70% rule actually works. But if you do your ARVs right and you have a legit comp from like a week or a month ago, that 70% rule doesn't work. So yeah, use the 70% rule if you're going to just absolutely not care about what the property, if you don't do your ARVs right. Sure. You inflate your ARVs, find a comp that had a golden toilet that's worth $1 million and assume that's guys, your cash buyers aren't dumb. And that's, I think, the next point I want to talk about. Okay. And honestly, I'm going to write this down. This is really important. I'm going to be stupid too, because a lot of people try this. Your cash buyers aren't stupid. And I want you guys to understand that. Your cash buyers aren't dummies. All right. You are not going to pull a fast one on them and try to sell it for way more than it's worth. And if you burn that cash buyer, they're not going to buy from you again. I think everybody understands that. So if you find a comp and you're looking at a crazy high comp and you skip all the bad comps because you want to make yourself feel good that the property's worth, guys, the value of something, the free market in capitalism does not care about how you feel about a price. They care about what the numbers are and what the facts are on the deal. So you might be only looking at the high comps and the cash buyer might be only looking at the low comps. There's always an in-between, right? And if you think your cash buyers are stupid and they're not going to see the low comp, you're screwed, okay? I think so many wholesalers, they feel like they're going to pull a fast one on their cash buyer. If you do the ARVs the right way that we teach at freelisting.com, you're going to be fine. The only change we're going to see in 2023, if you got a comp from 2 years ago or a year ago, you're going to have to adjust down on it. And if you adjust down, it works well. And the last part here is we just got to focus on the big three for 2023 for finding cash buyers. So I get this all the time. Like, Zach, you're saying I should find cash buyers more. It's more important. What do I do? Like, what do I do? I'm freaking out, Zach. Focus on the big three, right? And the big three for 2023 for finding cash buyers, for 80% of the cash buyers out, I would say 80% of all cash buyers you can find from the big three strategies, okay? Big three is finding cash buyers on Facebook, finding cash buyers on the cash sales. It's theoretically all of them, technically. And then cash buyers for the 4 rents. The only one the big three doesn't associate for are the new cash buyers. But really, you want to deal with cash buyers that actually bought properties before. So really, most of them are going to be on here. Facebook groups, you can scrub emails. You can actually scrub out here on Facebook groups and actually find people that are saying they're cash buyers and vet them from there. Cash sales, if anybody bought a property for cash, call them up. There's a lot of cash buyers there. And then for rents. And obviously the for rents are going to find the landlord buyers. Cash sales can find flippers. You use like listRA.com or ZachData.com. You can actually find the flippers tab. Then Facebook groups are from there. But guys, that is my plan for 2023. Me and Rick are doing that in our own business. So we put the money where our mouth is, right? Like, this is what we're doing. Now, I would probably say it's not an insane switch of what we've done previously, right? I don't think it's going to be this insane difference. But honestly, that's what we're doing. And once you start looking at your wholesaling real estate business like this, that like, hey, I probably should market more. I should talk to cash buyers more. And I should probably just increase the volume for everything. Start making an upward spiral in your life. And an upward spiral, which I've been talking about since Tuesday for you guys, is just start doing the things, do one action, and it's going to lead to even better action. So just calling more will lead you to doing more deals. And what I mean by this, the more times you cold call will lead you to getting more leads. And once you get more leads, you're going to be able to give more offers. And once you're able to give more offers, that's going to lead you to more contracts. More contracts, you can actually use that to sell them to cash buyers more, because you can get cash buyers from your contracts by using that as collateral to actually attract them into your funnel for cash buyers. Then you're able to sell more deals to cash buyers, which are going to make you do more deals. So doing that one little thing is going to change everything for you. And it's going to lead you to more leads, more offers, more deals, more contracts, more cash buyers, more money in your bank account. So guys, do the upward spiral for wholesaling real estate. I promise you, it's going to change everything. And it's going to lead you to become as successful as possible in wholesaling houses and in wholesaling real estate. I think so many wholesalers, they truly believe that this is the end of the world. Everything's ending. You have to do this thing or whatever. Guys, it's not the case. Every wholesaler and their mom is trying to find money and try to steal money from you. Their little guru window is closing. More people are joining freewholesaling.com. More people are learning wholesaling for free. More people are not, they go on these little discovery calls and then they hear the price and then they say, well, I'm just going to learn Zach for free. And then they're losing a lot more money. These gurus, they're losing so much stinking money and they're panicking. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to panic you even more. They're trying to hoard as much money as they can because they know probably in 3 or 4 years, our following is going to grow even more, which means more people are just going to learn wholesaling is free. Wholesale, I hope you know, every guru is trying to suppress freewholesaling.com from you. Because once they know you go into freewholesaling.com, why are you going to go anywhere else, right? And it's sort of like being colorblind. That's the way that's the best analogy for it. Freewholesaling.com is just showing you these glasses that will show you color for the first time. The gurus don't want you to have those glasses because they sell everything in black and white. And if they figure out that there's a lot more to the world than doing the broke guru methods, it's crazy, right? Oh, I can't sell. Once I give out all the information for free, how am I going to charge you 12, 14, 15 grand to learn wholesaling for free? Or to learn wholesaling when Zach can teach it for free. And if you can use that 15 grand you're going to spend on guru on your own marketing, it's going to skyrocket you to success. And I think so many wholesalers get so stressed out and worried and all this. Like, guys, these gurus only got about 3 or 4 years left, and then they're kaput. They're done. And a lot of them are already, they're older, so they're okay with that, and they'll retire. I've seen a lot of gurus actually retired this year, which is very nice. But what I can tell you guys is these gurus they got about 3 or 4 years. And I've said some things that very upsetted them. One thing I said this year that really, I said this recently, and this has really put a lot of stir with people getting very upset with me. But a lot of these gurus are actually, I don't know how to say this the right way, but they have bosses. And that's all I can say. Like, a lot of these people, like, they have like all these partners and people that tell them what to do and all these things. So like, I've said it before and I've said it again. I've gotten offered a lot of times to go on TV shows, a lot. Okay. I get a lot of offers because me and Rick, somehow we work very well together and we're kind of fun together when we go. You guys see our vlogs. It's always a fun time with us, right? And we actually make a lot of money in real estate. We've been offered from 3 TV networks, I believe. to do TV shows. And every single time they try to negotiate with us, and I didn't sign an NDA. This is the best part. I didn't sign an NDA. They didn't make me sign an NDA because I refused to. They always offered us great TV spots, all this stuff. It's great, right? It's Florida, all this stuff. I got offered 3 times. I got emails. I could show you all the things, right? Production companies, TV networks, all this stuff. And every single time it comes down to getting ready for it, right? Because you already know I only work 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a week, so I could do a TV show all day. There's always a little thing on there that says, we are going to control your social media, and we can tell you what and what you can't say. And you can't say anything too crazy. And what constitutes crazy is whatever they feel like. And I chose my own freedom of speech, and I've chose my freedom of giving you guys the best information possible. And so, yeah, I every single time I choose no, because you're not going to affect my YouTube channel. And so I don't have a little mama granny that's going to go tell me what I can or can't say, right? Like, I already have one mom, and she's amazing. She lets me do. I mean, she doesn't let me, but like she loves what I do, and she supports me. And if I actually have someone I have to give permission to of what I have to say, it's ridiculous, right? This is why I'm one of the few people who are actually allowed to do live streams and say whatever's on my mind and actually tell you the truth. Because I hate to say this, but like there's a whole like Illuminati of this real estate industry where like these TV executives, they sink their claws into these YouTubers and real estate influencers where they're like, okay, well, if we can't control the real estate flipping industry, we're going to give everyone TV shows, and then we're going to force them not to say things, right? And that's not for not every network's like that, but the networks that we've dealt with, and especially the production companies that we have talked to and done with, they've always wanted to control exactly what we've said. And they actually wanted to change up my staff and all these. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this, okay? And especially they wanted to switch up what I could and couldn't say in front of you guys. And every single time, they were decent TV deals too. Like they weren't, they were decent, but like they're a decent amount of money. But like for the time, I still don't think the money was worth it. But like I get offered all the time. And when I expose this stuff to you guys, a lot of people get really upset with me. And it's always funny. I get really upset with me, and then everyone keeps shooting shots at me and Rick. And it's always funny when I see those. But like, I just tell you guys what the truth is. And I'm not saying for anyone that has a TV show, like that's an issue with them, because maybe they sign something behind closed doors, or maybe they have something where they have some freedom. But I know my personal experience that I didn't want a boss. I didn't want someone to tell me what I can or can't say. I didn't want any of those things, right? And like, I think the biggest part was like, what if can I wholesale? And they're like, what's wholesale? Oh my gosh, I don't know what that is. But it's just really funny. I just want everybody to understand that like these gurus are really in 2023 going after me even harder. Like they're going harder in the paint against me because they're all backed on the wall. How are you going to sell a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, $20,000 wholesaling course when my following has jumped like crazy? Okay. Like, I think it's so funny because I think my Instagram went from 10,000 to 186,000. That means 170,000 people this year got exposed to what free wholesaling education was. And because that happened, and Waka Flocka DM me, which was my highlight of the year on Instagram. But because of that, that means 170,000 potential people didn't get caught up in the guru lie, in the guru scheme. And that means that that's 170,000 people of less sales that can get. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like I just want to expose what some of these bigger media people are trying to do. And I'm not saying anybody in wholesaling specifically or real estate investing, but like a lot of these companies are owned by Comcast and Turner TV and all these things. Like I'm not saying anything bad about them, but like a lot of these production companies that work with them, they're out here trying to stop people from saying the truth about real estate, wholesaling, things like that. And it's absolutely ridiculous. So I just want people to understand that. Like it's absolutely insane. I think it's ridiculous. That's why I give you absolutely for free. I've been tried every single way, shape, and form this year in 2022 to be censored from gurus. I've been threatened multiple times from gurus to be sued. I've had gurus' wives DM me telling me to stop. And I've had other gurus' wives DM me. Not going to say anything because I think it's funny. Just why not? But I have gurus' wives in my DMs, half of them trying to sue me, half of them DMing to stop doing things. I have gurus DMing me to shut up. I got all these broke gurus trying to get, I got some rich gurus going after me too. They're all going after me. All right. They're trying to stop me from sharing free wholesaling content for you guys. Everybody is against us for the free wholesaling movement. There's some great, I'll call them allies for the movement. But the way I look at it is that we got the people behind us and we got the gurus against us. And who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to win that battle? It's always a fun one, right? And I've been tried. These gurus try canceling me, and I'm like, what? You can't. How are you going to cancel me? It's just so funny. But guys, this is why it's essential for you guys to go out here and start making a ton of money and just showing. No other guru can show as many, in my opinion, people testimonials, doing deals and stuff like that, because y'all keep posting checks. And yeah, it's true. I'll get Rick back on here. He can confirm for me, but like, I mean, look at this face. Come on. Who don't want a piece of me? But I can tell you guys, it's so funny that all these gurus are going after us. And this is my last rant on gurus because I know people get sick of it. But the truth is why I talk about gurus so much, why I'm talking about I'm sick of these gurus, right? And the reason why I'm sick of it is just because people are trying to suppress the movement I've been trying. So many people have tried. And I look at people like Brian. Looks like Brian's got a daughter there. I think a beautiful daughter there, right? He has to feed his family. And these gurus are trying to take thousands of dollars from Brian's family right here. He's trying to take thousands of dollars from his family. And I can't stand for that. I can't stand for somebody who's struggling to financially make it going. They want thousands of dollars for you. And this business has blessed my life beyond compare. It has gained me more money than I can ever imagine, ever want, and enough passive money where I can go off the grid if I ever wanted to in my life, right? What I want everybody to know is that I look at people like Brian, I look at people's families, and I look at people out here, and I know to deal with the snot the gurus throw at me, it's worth it because I can help people learn wholesaling for free. And a lot of people are getting their first, second, third, fourth, fifth, $100,000. And really they can take care of their family and most importantly, retire their moms. And you don't need to spend much money to do that. And honestly, the one thing that's really driving me crazy is there's some gurus in my local market that are so stinking broke. It's insanely sad. And if you look publicly, they're the richest person ever, but they broke. That's hilarious. But I will get into it. Let's do some one-on-ones. Let's help the people out. Let's spend some more time helping the people out. And my favorite hobby actually during live, sometimes I like to pop up my DMs. I'll get some gurus going after me hard, but it's always funny. So let's break it down. Let's share it. And let's break it down. Also, another thing I would say is this year I've gotten more software companies trying to reach out to me to promote them. And it's the funniest thing. And I want everyone to understand this. Be wary of new softwares. And what I mean by this, a lot of these software companies are starting to pop out in wholesaling real estate. And I'll expose this one thing too, because I like exposing things. I sit down with these software owners and I have a legit conversation with them. I had one person come up to me and they wanted me to promote their software. And it was going to change everything in the world, right? And it's definitely not the software you're thinking of. And I literally just asked them one question. I'm like, what is your main goal for the software? Are you looking just to exit this in 2 years and sell it for insane amount of money and just go out like the average software person? Like, yeah, that's the goal. I want you to bring all your followers into it, bring a bunch of customers, and we can sell it at a 30x multiple. And I look at that, I'm like, you don't care about helping the people out. You just care about the money. And they're like, yeah, pretty much, but we'll pay you very well for it. Guys, people give me 6-figure deals, up to 7-figure deals too, to promote their broke software that don't work. And I'm like, I ain't using it. I ain't promoting it. Okay. And behind closed doors, I get offered a lot of money to promote softwares. And some of them are like, most of them are just so bad. They are so bad. And some people who are broke might accept those deals. and they promote very bad software. So I just want you guys to understand any software that I tell you guys about, I legit get deals every month from them. Okay. If I don't get deals from that software, I can't promote it and I won't. And so everyone goes, what is this software? This software, guys, because I've tried every software imaginable and I use it in my business and it don't work. Okay. And if I tell you it work, it don't work, whatever. All right. I'll tell you. So that's all I got to say on that. But let's answer some questions. Let's see how I can help the people out. And let's see what it is. So Sebastian's got a good question here. Would you put a system into place for driving for dollars, hiring an employee for it, for probates? We have access to obituaries. Canada do obituary since you can't get probates because Canada's got weird information. Yeah, we went back and Sebastian signed the deal in Windsor. Awesome. Windsor's an amazing market. London, Ontario is a really good market too. Those are really good markets for wholesaling too. So may shift to one thing. Let's do some one-on-ones too. So make sure y'all go to Wholesaling House for Real in there. Let me one thing real quick. Hold on, be patient. Be patient. All right. Thank y'all for your patience. All right. Let's yeah, you can wholesale in Canada. Now, what I want you guys to understand is if you look at Canada, I'm not going to we talk about the United States for wholesaling, but when you look at Canada, there's places in Canada that are more south than the United States. And people get confused on that. It's true. So in the United States, there's some really good wholesaling markets. And some of those markets are absolutely bordered right next to Canada. And it might be weird to say, but the best market for wholesaling in Canada is east of Detroit. And that's kind of weird. It's like, wait, it's not north? No, it's actually south of Detroit and east of it. This is the London, Windsor, Hamilton, I think, area. And it's like Detroit, but Canadian Detroit. So it's like Canadian Eminem. Would that be Drake? I think so. But that's the truth. I think Drake's his own thing. But like, it's like the Canadian version of Detroit. And it's amazing. So yeah. Ontario, Canada is better for wholesaling in Ontario, California, all day, every day. I'm just being honest with you guys. I know a lot of Canadians wholesaling. It works out really well. So let's go here and let's start breaking everything down. So if you want to talk to me absolutely for free one-on-one, just go to Wholesaling House for Real. I'll show you right now how to hop on there. So here's the Facebook group. Click here on featured. This is Zach Ginn. I featured it. So click that. Hop on. It will show a StreamYard link. You can hop on the StreamYard link. Talk to me for free. Absolutely one-on-one. So that is it. Let's break it down and let's do some one-on-one calls. So first here we got Rich. I missed him.
Yo, can you hear me?
Up?
Yo, can you hear me, bro?
Yep.
Oh, for sure. Just got a couple questions, man. About cold calling, but the first one is, so for code violations, I pulled that list about like a few weeks ago. So like they're kind of outdated now. So overall, they're 60 to 120 days old. Are those still good, or do you recommend me refreshing, pulling the list again?
I'd pull it again, but I'd still keep the ones you have there still open.
Okay, and then do I just attack all of them, or attack like
attack all the open ones?
Okay, for sure. And then for cold calling, so when they don't pick up or they kind of like hang up, when do you suggest me calling them back? I heard you say something like recalling the list like a month later.
Yeah, if they don't answer, recall the list a month later, that the ones that didn't answer. So I would have an Excel sheet so you can track which ones do it and which don't.
Okay, and then what happens if it's like a little short conversation, like they hang up because they got offended or something like that? Do I just call them
home again
later, the next day, or like a month?
No, like a month.
Okay, for sure. Cool. And then, so the process, right, of cold calling, is the process the motivation, condition, time frame, and price? Like you're trying to go through that process, and the last one is price?
Yes. So when I talk to a motivated seller, I always stick to MCTP.
Okay.
And it's kind of there's another one to it, but like when I talk to a seller, I care about why they're looking to sell the property, the condition, the time frame, the price. And then once I get all the information, I say, okay, well, let me look at everything with my partner. And then we'll talk to them from there. And then you just get another conversation from there. And then you sort of condition them, meet the appointment, or get them ready to get the offer on there.
Yep. Okay. So since I'm doing it virtual, once I get the price, I say, okay, let me give you a call back, and then I offer them on the second call. Now, do you sigh when they give you the price on the first call, or do you sigh when you call them back like, hey, after going through it with my partner, like that price doesn't work for me?
Depends on the price, So one thing I do is sometimes I get a price for it, and off the bat, I'm like, oh, 300,000 is what I want for that. So I'm like, okay, well, let me look at everything. If it's worth 300,000, then sure, but we're gonna have to look at everything. Now, so there's a lot of ways I go around it, right? It's always the flow of the conversation because I don't like to make things forced. But if the person's really like into their 300,000, I know my MAO is like 250, I'm gonna say, you know what? 300 actually is right. And Mr. Seller, you're actually not wrong. 300 is actually, it's not bad, right? You're actually pretty much spot on with what you're saying there. But what you got to understand, Mr. Seller, is 300 is the price, but it does need a lot of work. So you are right on the 300,000, but I don't think you assume the repairs, the renovation, and all the costs that actually has to get in to make it at 300,000. That's why I'm going to have to be at this price. Actually, because you already know this, man. A lot of sellers are like, oh, Zillow says this, so this is what I want to do. Just explain to the seller that, like, hey, Zillow is correct. You're not wrong. But Zillow is assuming the house is already all perfect and there's all this work being done in the house and all these things, and it's really not, right? And so if you understand that you shouldn't make a seller feel like they're stupid or they're dumb or they're bad or they don't know everything, because honestly, you can't blame them. They're not real estate experts. They don't understand comps. So just explain it to them. And once they realize it, they're like, okay, that makes sense. Go from there. Also, when I get a Zillow thing, I always say, okay, well, Zillow lost $1 billion trying to buy properties at the Zestimate price. No, they actually lost $1 billion buying properties below the Zestimate price. And they lost $1 billion. So any real person looking to buy the house will not be able to. And pull up your articles if you want to do it, because like it's absolutely true.
For sure. Okay, that makes sense. And then when it's time for the contract, are you reading the contract to them as well, or are you just letting them sign it?
So when it comes to the contract, I just give it to them. Like I don't read it over to them. Unless they have questions. Like, is this virtual or in person?
This is virtual.
So virtual, I stay on the phone with them.
And you just be quiet, and if they have any questions, they just ask.
Kind of. So what I mean is like, hey, Mr. Seller, what I'm going to do is, can I have your email? I'm sending you over the agreement. And then let me know when it's signed or if you have any questions, or just let me know. I'm going to stay on the phone till we get it done, just in case you have any questions.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
You have to stay on the phone when you have that virtual contract. I cannot tell you how many people come up to me and say, Zach, I sent the contract virtual, I hung up, and they never signed it, and I lost the deal. It's like, because you didn't stay on the phone.
I don't want that. Don't want that.
No.
Okay. And then this is gonna be the last one for me. So just to kind of confirm, because I kind of come from the sales world. So the sales process essentially is the MCTP, is the motivation, condition, time frame, price, and then within that you're building rapport.
You just gotta get some information, and then you go from there. I want you guys to understand that I don't look at this as sales.
Sure.
And because it's really not. Like, I wish I could tell you you're selling something, but you're really not selling something. Either it fits or it doesn't. A lot of sales is trying to sell something to somebody that maybe they don't need it, but maybe they want to, or possibly. But just, hey, if you want to sell it, you can sell it, right? The no pressures, I hate to call it sales tactic, is the best one, because it makes people feel comfortable, and it's what you can sleep the best knowing, right? So I always do the, hey, if you want to sell it, I'm looking to buy it. You don't want to sell it, I'll go to the next person.
Yeah, you're never going to make them sell it.
No.
So either like they want to sell it and they have some sort of motivating condition, and then if you find that right one, then you're just really walking them through a process. And if you build good rapport and you don't piss them off, they'll do a deal with you. That where the wholesalers that struggle is they're trying to convince people to sell in their house. Dude, that it doesn't work. Either they're ready to sell it, or they're not. You will never convince someone to try to sell it. Realtors do that. And how do they try to convince them? What's the one motivating factor that they get people to sell when a realtor goes and meets with people?
I'm not sure.
Crazy list price, right?
Yeah.
They
yeah.
get into their greed factor. We can't do that. We do not have that tool in our arsenal. It's actually the complete opposite. So the biggest thing you can understand as starting out is you got to spend your time homing in and finding them with the right list, using government list, high motivation list. And then from there, it's just confidently going through and doing a presentation. And it's mostly about yourself. And here's the secret. If you're yourself, you turn your scripts into conversations, it's easy to do business with you. And that's been my secret over 20 years. That's his secret. And that's one we're passing along to you.
Okay, for sure. Makes sense, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Any other questions?
No, just I guess a real quick one with the script. So when you're calling like water shutoffs or really any list, can you come from the aspect of, hey, I purchased a house in the area. I'm essentially calling everyone on the street if they're interested in selling their house.
I wouldn't do that unless you legit purchased a house in the area. If you get called to the plate, you're going to lose the deal. So for example, our team does that, right? Like we say, oh, we purchased a house in the area. And they say, we get this, dude. Because the VA will come back and be like, what house did you purchase in the area? And we got to look in Podio and see which one. Right. And then we can give it off the bat. Because if we didn't buy a house in that zip code in the past 2 months, we're screwed. And so, but usually what we do is we always have the address ready, right? Because we buy a lot of properties. It's hard. If you get called to the plate, you're going to lose that deal. And it's kind of close to a lie. So I wouldn't say that. We're looking to buy properties in the area. Yeah. Now, unless your cash buyer did, then you can kind of say that. Me and my partner recently bought a property in the area, but you're going to have the address ready because I've been called out plenty of times and I always have things to back it up.
It's just easier to tell the truth because then you don't have to keep track of your lies.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Okay.
But if you say it's you and your buyer, it's perfect, right? It's like,
yeah.
You and Michael Jordan both won 5 rings together combined, right? And a lie.
Yeah,
so,
true.
Yeah, use your cash buyer for credibility with your sellers. It's huge.
Okay,
thanks, man. That's pretty much it for now. That really helped me out.
All right, let me know if you need help with anything else.
All right, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Boom! Awesome. Next year we got. You also snuck back pretty quietly.
That's pretty good.
It's just good. All right, Brian.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear. What is up?
What's going on?
Oh, man, I'm just I'm a little starstruck right now, so you got to forgive me if I'm a little nervous. But no, I put that comment in earlier about the money I spent on gurus, but I still watch you guys every day, so I really want to just throw that out there and thank you guys. And anybody who's thinking about spending thousands on gurus, don't do it. Zach's preaching the truth.
I appreciate it, man.
You don't need it. I mean, honestly, I've got multiple courses that I can log in and watch the training videos and use the contracts. And I'm always going to your guys' stuff instead because I feel like it's better or easier to use or, so, yeah, thank you guys. I wish I would have found you sooner.
That's okay. And I mean, hey, you get to talk to us for free too. And guess what? I'm going to let you talk to me for free one-on-one forever, evergreen. So you get what you pay for, Brian. And I think you're getting your value.
A lifetime evergreen. You guys realize those are commitments that actually God's going to fulfill, not them. So it's not really something you can advertise because it's a lot of these coaching programs, they get sold and sold and sold and sold. And it's the new flavor of the month of who decides who wants to honor what.
People are going to hop on my funeral and be like, I didn't get my one-on-one call. What's going on?
I got multiple messages today. And if you guys are sending me this message and you're watching it, it's for you. And I want to help you out. If you message me or Zach and go, listen, how do I work with you guys one-on-one? Number one, we don't do it and we're transparent and honest about it because that's a job and I'm not trading my time for money. Number two, wholesaling is actually simple. If you just follow the procedures and stop trying to filter it that make it fit your personality, it works. I know a lot of people think they're going to tempt me with a one-on-one. I don't want your money. I am truly authentic about that. I don't want it. I'm going to help as many people humanly possibly get excited about wholesaling get going and take action to get their first deal. And then if they want to go on the journey to get their first 100 grand, this is a piece of cake. That's me and Zach's mission. That's what we're going to do. So if you message us hundreds of times thinking like I'll rise to the top, I treat everyone the exact same. If you have $1 billion or you're broke, I'm going to give you the exact same instruction.
So how can I help you out, Brian?
Yeah, thank you guys for taking my call. So I guess probably my most pressing question is analyzing this deal that I'm going to meet the seller this evening when my wife gets home from work, and it's a little bit weird because it's a 2-1 in a neighborhood of mostly 3 2s. I'm only looking back 60 days on my comps. I'm in DFW area in Texas, and it was really inflated, and it's softening quite a bit. They're starting to see a little downtrend. So I'm only looking at 60 days back on the comps, and I think ARV is 150. I think I can get under contract for 120, which is about 80% ARV. But my question is, I don't know if that's deep enough to be assignable. Do you think if I should get it under contract at 120 and then go back and renegotiate? It is a good rental neighborhood, but again, it's a 2-1, so rent is only about $1,000 as is. It needs updating.
I mean, where are the repairs?
So it's in good condition. It's ugly. It's outdated, which is not uncommon for this area.
Okay. I mean, I hate to tell you, but can you go back like a year and see in that area, like a quarter mile, what the renovated 2-1s are going for? And that would probably pull that back by 10, 15%. And that would be a good ARV. And then minus off how much it'll cost to really do a full gut renovation of it. And that's how you can really figure it out. Because I'm thinking of either a landlord type buyer or a house flipper. And I kind of look at both of them, right? And so either I look at the house flipper and I can make that work, or it's like, all right, if I can rent for 1,100, sorry, 1,000, might have to put 20 grand and put it up to 12 to 1,300. Is it worth it? Right.
Right.
If 150 is the ARV, I mean, 120, if it needs repairs, is probably not going to be the best. My best guess, dude, is I would probably offer, I'm guessing 80 off the bat. And I would probably try to lock it up for around 100. That's my guess, because I think you're going to sell it for like 110, 120. And they're going to have to probably put some work into it to make it worth 150. So you need to make money. The cash buyer needs to make money, and the seller has to be okay with it. So if you offer 80 and they counter at 120, you meet the middle at 100 and you make 10 or 20 grand. That's the best one to do.
Okay. So I'm going to meet him today. So I'm going to see the house for the first time. You think I should say, okay, it needs kitchen and bathrooms and whatever else I can find, and use that to justify my really low number? I don't think he's going to go for it.
Well, have you given him a verbal offer, or has he already given you a number?
So I think I can get under contract at 120 based on our phone call, but I haven't met him yet face to face. He wanted to meet face to face, and it's only about 40 minutes for me. So I was going to go and try and build rapport and look at it, and then use that to kind of negotiate down.
Well, Brian, have you conditioned them for a yes or no decision?
Yes, he said bring a contract.
Okay, good. So what you need to do on this deal, and so you don't sound confident he's going to go for 100, which is, whatever. Let me do this. This is the honest truth of what I'm going to do, because I know it's got to be a little lower. Whatever you see on that house, you're going to be very disappointed. All right. You're going to be a very disappointed person. Going to go there and be like, oh, man, this is a lot more work than I thought. And then you ask him for the price and he says 120 is the price, Brian. Mr. Seller, I was fully prepared to buy this thing for 120 today, but because of X, Y, Z, X to the fourth, whatever, it's going to at least need another 10 or 15,000. I know my partner, Rick, he's a stickler for these things. Like, he is, the cost of everything. He's probably going to, I'm just being honest. He's probably going to come up to me and say, we got to buy this thing for like 85,000. Oh, I never do 85. That's him. He's crazy, right? I mean, what realistically works? This thing needs a lot of renovations. He's stressing out because interest rates are going up. He doesn't want to hold a property that's going to go down. What works for you? You go from there. Whatever you do, you got to be disappointed. And so whatever price he has, make them feel like you're not like scoffing at it, but be like, you know what? I was fully prepared for that price, but because of this, this, and this. I think that's gonna be your best approach.
So if I think I can do that. I think I can build rapport, and I think I can execute that. So if he's not willing to get it under contract for say 90-ish, you think I should walk, or should I get it under contract anyways and try and renegotiate?
Is it vacant?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So that's good. Because it's vacant, I'm liking this. All right. This makes me a lot more happier.
PropStream shows free and clear, though.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean anything. I could care less.
Okay.
So because there's a lockbox on it, that's always good. I like the lockbox. Honestly, thinking about this, I would not go into a contract knowing I'm going to renegotiate on it. There are other things you can do. So, for example, let's say he's stuck at 120. All right. So, no to saying I'm going to lock this up for 120, knowing I have to renegotiate. That's not good. That's not the right thing to do. What something you can do though is he's stuck at 120, stuck at 120, stuck at 120, stuck at 120. I had a hoarder's house that was like this. Said, you know what, Mr. Seller, you can't do anything below that. No. Okay, you know what? We're gonna do 120. But what I need to let you know is because these are very tight for me, I'm gonna have to bring my handyman through. I'm gonna have to bring probably a contractor through. I'm gonna bring my partner through. We're all gonna have to look at this thing with a fine-tooth comb. Because you're at this higher price. Now, Mr. Seller, if we did 100, I'd probably bring I probably don't have to do any of this stuff. But because you're stuck at this price, we're gonna have to do that. So I'm gonna need a lockbox. I'm gonna bring all of them through, and I'm really gonna have to get my numbers very tight here. Oh, that's fine, because all they care about is the price, right? Fine. Guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna probably bring 15, 20 buyers through that thing, and that's what you're gonna have to do. And guess what you do when they're upset with you? Well, you locked it up for the price you wanted, so I get the terms I wanted, right? I get to bring 20 people through because you're stuck on that price. And if you bring 10 buyers through and they all tell you that I got to buy this thing for 110, now you can go back to the guy and say, hey, I brought it through because of this, and this. Your cash buyer said, I'm going to have to be at 100,000. I'm sorry, but I kind of told you before when you locked it up, it was very tight. And because it needed all these extra issues I didn't know about because I'm not the contractor, we're going to be at this price. That's the right thing to do.
Do I need to put that in the contract at all about needing access? Or do I get that automatically during my option period?
It's all in there. What he's saying is because you got to go with a higher price.
Yeah.
So here's how I look at it. Sometimes a property's motivated, but the seller's not quite motivated. And I attack those with everything I got. Because sometimes we have to help the seller get out of their own way. But if say you had to enter in an agreement at like 110 to 120, whatever it is with them, and you're like, oh my God, this is 50-50 at best. Make sure you have terms like Zach said, so you have flexibility. You have longer inspection times, at least 30 days or longer. You cannot do 7-10 days. You have no shot on that offer on it. So what was he using this property before? Was it a rental?
So I just had the initial phone call with him, and he was being really weird on not revealing his motivation or how he got it or anything.
That's easy.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell, but I know that he's only owned it for 8 months.
Oh, okay.
Brian, ask him this. Mr. I know you bought this thing like 8 months ago. Like, why are you looking to sell it? Like, is there something I don't like? Are there termites on the property? Like, is there something like you're trying to do? Like, what's going on? And guess why? Because you pulled that out there, he now has to give you proof that there's no termites and give you proof of why he's looking to sell it because, my wife's driving me crazy. That's why I got to sell it. Because he has to prove to you why the house doesn't have termites now. And he has to give you his real motivation to prove why there's no termites. Termites are probably the worst case scenario, right? Or Chinese drywall. Is there Chinese drywall termites? I have to assume this if you're not telling me why. And now he's going to give you a real motivation. It works 9 times out of 10 for cold calling.
Yeah, I am always, listen, I bought properties from people that have owned it less than 6 months, but in wholesaling, I'm going to be brutally honest with you, it's a rarity.
Well, unless it's a probate.
Unless it's a probate or something like that. But
Yeah.
like a lot of people, sometimes they buy as an investor and they're like, you know what? I'm not good at landlording. This is a nightmare. I want to get rid
Did
of
he
it.
buy it?
So just make sure the story, is he the owner of record on it?
Yeah, and I'm thinking maybe it's a possible inherited house.
Yeah, see, that's
Yeah,
good.
okay.
I like those. As long as you would probably see in Dallas, it said sold like 8-9 months ago.
Yeah.
Was it sold on the MLS?
No.
So yeah, it's probably inherited. You just got to ask them.
So a couple tips on this. You're worried about like what price he's going to accept with you. Do not make an assumption. I've done this so many times and like screwed myself over. Don't make up in your mind he's going, the least he'll take 120 unless he said that's the least I'm going to take. So you have to leave yourself open. That's why I teach you to go for no. To get the yes, you got to go through no to get that counter. Number two, sometimes when you get a property like that and they get stuck on the price and the property's run down like you think it is, I sometimes will use this technique. I don't use a lot, but like I don't see a lot of sellers. It's like, Mr. Seller, I tell you what, you get this place updated and do everything, I'll get you your 120. He's never going to do it. Like, so if you had to spend 10, 15, 25, 30 grand to get it there, go, if you spend that money, I could get you the 120. Is that something you're willing to do?
Mm-hmm.
And go, well, listen, well, let's just, then I'll just buy it as it is, but here's why I can do that price. And you just kind of keep going back and forth because everybody talks about what you could do, what the potential is for it. The thing is you have to buy it for what it's worth now.
You have to ask. Like, Brian, are you a Cowboys fan?
I'm not a football guy. I'm sorry.
You're not a football guy? All right.
I'm from California, so if I had to be a guy, I'd be a Niners fan.
All right. Like the closest thing to that is going to be like a lot of people in Dallas like the Cowboys. So letting you know, a lot of your sellers are going to like the Cowboys. So I just checked the Cowboys scores. It helps a lot. I have a lot of sellers that are Cowboys fans in Florida here. You watch a game or you look at something and like you're expecting a result, but a lot of times by you doing it, something crazy happens in the other end, right? So like, for example, I've had deals where the sellers wanted so much stinking money for the house over the phone. I go in person, I get the thing locked up for 60% of that because what they said over the phone is completely different than in person, right?
Yeah, especially when you get
you
there.
don't know.
People front you, like they tell you like what you want to hear is like the highest price. And you get there. So here's I feel like we're kind of overloading them with techniques, but
yeah.
So Brian, like when you look around a property, you do the iPod.
I'm like a sponge.
He can watch the recording on this.
Yeah,
so.
just like if you got it, like when I have smelly properties, I'm instantly like covering my nose or doing something like. And this just when it's bad, dude, I'll just start doing the face. You just rub the forehead. So any of you guys are fathers out there, you know what I mean? When you rub the forehead, you're like, oh my God, what am I getting into? And listen, if you're buying a property that's run down, you're getting into it. So the physical negotiations are just as important as the verbal. Remember, 70% of your communication is nonverbal. So like, I know when you're having a conversation, somebody runs their forehead like this, like there's something not right with it. And so sometimes you build it up. Hence, if I walk in a house that's perfect, I take them outside immediately. I have no traction there.
No point.
If it's bad, I kind of like you guys ever had the dog where you just kind of like push their business in it when they do something bad? Like that's kind of the same technique. I know that's terrible.
I've never done that to your dog.
My dog's like a diva, but it's like sometimes dogs are bad and they make them like do
I would
that.
Never do that. That's evil.
But in a way, like if you're going to try to sell me like a crappy property and try to give me a retail price, I'm like, well, either you fix it up.
You have to do that to the sellers.
Or I just sit there and go, oh my God, what am I getting into?
It's not the best dog training technique, but it's a good analogy.
But yeah, you know what I'm saying. It's not good, but it works.
So Brian, practice it. Like whenever you go to their house, I've gotten pretty good at it, but it's just like, and you're not doing it. You're just doing that kind of to yourself, but the seller can kind of see it. And they're like, oh shoot.
You kind of walk around with a notepad when you're looking and like take any
I don't
notes.
do that. No.
It's distracting when
That's
you
distracting.
do that. They look at your facial features more than anything.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you're like kind of rubbing your head, you're like, and you're just kind of giving that scrunchy face the whole time.
You can't do it all
too
the
much,
time.
but like you're not acting.
Much,
like if you walk in like I've walked in some houses where I can't breathe. I'm like, we got to take it outside. This is bad. So
what I was thinking was taking some pictures and stepping outside to call my partner, and kind of using that to set up the partner as the bad guy, like you were saying, Zach, and just say, hey, based on this and that.
That's not bad.
he used to call me outside the house all the time. He's like, he goes, just shut up and go with it. And he's like, because sometimes if you don't have a dial tone or they don't see you calling someone, you will get busted. So if you're going to call someone, guys, call somebody. Like, don't fake it.
I used to
it's
call
too
you. I
transparent.
remember I was 19. I used to call you and be like, "How much did the drywall house again?"
Yeah, he's just
I
like,
used to like, you're like, "Wait, what?" I'm like,
is Chinese
just go with it.
drywall a big deal? If the house is leaning sideways, do we get a deeper discount? I'm like, good Lord.
No, I used to, like,
But you just learn
yeah.
over time, you know?
Okay, thank you guys. I'm ready to execute this.
Yeah, let us know how it works out. You got it. Just have a conversation and engage them and try to create a win-win situation.
Last thing for you, do not have the contract in your hand until you agree on a price. Go back into your car, get the contract.
Right.
I'm telling you.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, big difference.
Okay, another quick one. So I've been doing all the techniques you talk about all the time, Zach, about driving for dollars and reverse driving for dollars. I've been calling government lists. I've been door knocking foreclosures, basically all the free ones. But coming up in January, I got about $1,000 to spend. And I was thinking about spending it on direct mailers, but I've been hearing that, direct mailers aren't that great in my area. Do you think I'd be better off spending my $1,000 on hiring some VAs to do some cold calling, or what do you think I should do with my $1,000?
The best way to spend $1,000, honestly, is reverse drawing for dollars. Like that's straight up the best one. The second
Problem
best
is
one,
I watch my kids during the day, so I don't get that many hours during the week to be driving around.
fine. So the second best one is, you got car seats. So, but that's for a different story. Gas for drawing for dollars would be the best one. The second best one, honestly, I could probably say is probate mailers. I think that would probably be the best ROI. If you're going to spend money and you only have $1,000, probate mailers, they'll probably get you.
I'm doing that already.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just slow. There's not a lot of them, and they just take time.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
So the challenge,
Handwritten, baby.
Yeah, the challenge with direct mail is you're probably going to need a bigger budget than $1,000 just for honest transparency, because you can't just shoot out 300 or 400 letters and like cross your fingers. So that's why he's giving you kind of the reverse
Also,
driving for dollars.
Brian, because do you have a printer at home?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can actually just print. I won't handwrite them.
I got my envelopes handwritten, and then I got probate Rick's formula. So I printed it out, and I got the big blue marker signature.
Okay, make sure you use the letter wave at freewholesaling.com.
Yeah, that's the one I got.
Yeah, go to the freewholesaling.com one, and because he shifted it a little more, and then make sure you sign the bottom of it, and then I think you're fine. We print the envelopes too. We don't really see a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I'm doing one. So Dallas County is one of the biggest counties in the country. So there's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm doing Dallas, and then closer county is smaller. There's only 120. So I'm handwriting those to save a little money.
Beautiful, man. I like it. And then all the little counties within an hour, you're good to go. Wherever you're getting this appointment, dude, do that one too.
Okay. So you guys think that basically gas for driving for dollars? I do have a gas guzzler. I've tried with my kids. They're 3 and 1. So more than an hour in the car, man, is pretty rough.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've done it 4 or 5 hours, and they basically cry the whole time.
Yeah. Not worth it. That's borderline
tough.
child abuse to the kids when they're.
I did take my 1-year-old son up to the door knocking foreclosures, and that worked pretty good.
Yeah, I'd probably avoid that one.
Yeah, I'd be careful there.
Hey, I'll probably.
I'm not going to answer the door for a guy with a baby.
Hey,
I know. I wouldn't advise that for
I wouldn't
anybody
advise
else
that
out
one.
here. I just like dude, like it's your kid, your decision.
I didn't
but,
tell
like,
my wife.
Please don't be using like your kids for trade bait to get the door open. It's just too risky in my opinion.
Honestly, man, I'd probably use that for drawing for dollars, reverse drawing for dollars, and then the probate mailers. Go hard on the pain on those. I think that's the best one.
Okay, thank you, guys. Okay, last one. This may be a quick one, maybe not. I've been doing SMS campaign. I've been using Launch Control. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one.
Yep.
But Launch Control, the plan I have allows me to send 600 a day. And I did that just because, to try and get my numbers up, I was only able to call, maybe 50 a day on the cold calling. So I've been doing a text blast in the morning. I just learned yesterday about TCPA. And, if somebody doesn't opt in, technically it's against the rules. You can get fined pretty heftily there. What are your guys' thoughts on TCPA and texting campaigns?
Launch Control is TCPA compliant. You're fine.
Well, what they said is in the terms and conditions that it's up to me to be compliant. And I did read the law. If somebody doesn't opt in and you're trying to get them to sell a property based on, I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I didn't talk to a lawyer, but based on my reading of the rules, you're not really supposed to do that if they don't have an opt in.
Well, let me be honest with you. The way that you're reading TCPA might be a little different because the way the TCPA is for telemarketing. And have you found the definition of telemarketing?
Well, in TCPA, it basically says any attempt to buy or sell a property, among other things, is basically a no-no.
For is it the FCC definition or for the
like
TCPA?
I read the actual
1991?
law. You can pull up the law if you just Google it. I read the actual verbiage in there.
Most of them say on the verbiage. Oh yeah, wait. Are we talking about TCPA or DNC?
TCPA. Okay, so DNC. If you call somebody that's on the DNC and try and buy or sell something, that's $45,000 a phone call. The fine. Text messaging, if somebody didn't opt in, is $500 $500 per text. The potential fine. I'm doing 600 a day. That's $300,000 a day. And I did message launch control about that. They're basically hands off. If somebody comes after me, it's my fault for not being compliant.
So the DNC law is about telemarketing, and telemarketing is the encouragement of the selling of something on it. So from the lawyers I've talked to, DNC is fine, and DNC is the biggest issue I see. Now for the TCPA, violations are all over the board. The most I've seen on a TCPA violation is $500. And that's with a class action with what lawyer will do like 15 people at $500 each. That's the worst I've ever seen. I haven't seen $40,000 a call, because if it was $40,000 a call, people would be suing for it. That's not possible. Okay. Now, half these are off of intent. So if you're really scared of it, I would go reach out to a lawyer and talk to them. But if you're scared of it, just don't do it. That's pretty much what I could say.
No, I've been still doing it. I just learned yesterday, but I wanted to see what you guys thought on that. Because
I think the way you're reading the law is a little different. After talking to 100,000 wholesalers, I've had one guy being sued for DNC and TCPA at the same time. And do you know how much he's being sued for? $500.
Yeah.
The lawyer's spending $1,000 to sue the guy for $500 because they had a personal vendetta against the person.
Right.
The most you can get sued for is $500 for a DNC and a TCPA violation.
Yeah.
Because the way the DNC law works is for telemarketing, and the definition of telemarketing is the encouragement of the selling of something or somebody to buy something. And so if you're calling somebody to look to buy their house, it's in a gray area. It's very hard to sue there. TCPA, you're good for telemarketing there. And telemarketing has a weird legal definition. So I have 100,000 people. I don't have one lawsuit I can find. I have about 15 I can find on RVMs though. So that's the way you got to look at it. Plus, don't be stupid when you're texting. If I could tell when someone's trying to fish for information, and they're going to fish for $500. So that's why it's not really a big deal for me, because 99% of people are not going to spend $3,000 to sue you for $500.
Right.
But there's people out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's the problem is if you like freak out about like anything you think's like slightly finable, or you call it illegal. It's not illegal. It's just finable. You won't do much. So in my 20 years, I've only had 2 go after me. One was for RVM. I forgot what the other one was.
What's RVM, guys? I don't know what that is.
It's a ringless voicemail. Actually, it's a brilliant strategy, but it's very misleading, and I get their side of it. So whenever you get a tactic that gets abused, mostly by like gurus and stuff like that, sometimes you run with it, and then when they make it so difficult, you just go away. We used RVM for a long time. I just had to go away.
So I'm reading the law again, Brian. Are you so that violation you said is true, but only if you use an auto dialer, an auto texter, which launch control is non-auto texter.
Yeah, it's very long. The federal government also published.
I'm just trying to let you know the law.
Yeah.
If you click a button and it sends 5,000 texts instantly, you're screwed. If you have the individual, it's non-auto dialer, so you're outside of TCPA. The only thing you get in trouble for is DNC. And
Launch
DNC
control does make you have to click every single time, and every message
it's on
is
auto
different.
dialer, so you don't get that 40 grand fine.
Right.
So the DNC law is interesting. So yeah,
You got you
Yeah,
guys.
my interpretation of it was that yes, it could be 500 per person, and I'm like, oh no, I'm doing 600 people. That's 300 grand. But you're right. I think each person there would have to join the class action, or each person there would have to sue you for the 500. So I feel more comfortable after if you guys aren't worried about it, I don't think I'm that worried about it.
No,
look
but
at-
like,
yeah.
remember, I'm not here to give you legal advice.
Yeah.
You want to do what makes you comfortable. Some people just decide, here's how most people do it. The honest to God truth in wholesaling. They just run with it until they get called to the plate, and then they bend over backwards, apologize super nice to people. And usually they go, okay, I'm not going to risk that again. So if you haven't even gotten to that point, I'm not telling you to move forward to that point. I'm just, in 20 years, man, I door knocking, RV. I've tried everything. And occasionally they go, hey, you need to stop this because of this. And then I sign an agreement and I don't do it again. So, and really, what you're going to pay like 300 grand a day? That's not realistic.
Right.
So I used to have I used to own a print store because we printed so many bandit signs, and our company used to print for politicians and mattress stores. So you ever seen a mattress store sign?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, these guys, they don't even care about the law. They'll go out and put thousands of signs. We drop off pallets of them because they were making so much money on sales. And the guy goes, yeah, I've got like $15 million of fine against me. And he's just a small little store. He just didn't care. He goes, I'm never going to pay it. I don't care. And sometimes people take that attitude, but you've got to be responsible. You've got to be accountable
So,
to yourself at the end of the
the
day.
FCC puts telemarketing with DNC as the initiation of a telephone call or message for the purpose of encouraging the purchase of a rental or an investment in, or encouraging the purchase of property or goods or services. So if I call you, Brian, say, hey, would you like to buy this service, this guru package? No. Would you want to buy this piece of real estate? No. Would you like to invest in a real estate? Would you like to rent this piece of real estate? No. Right? Me calling somebody to see if they're looking to sell a property is different, because you're not encouraging somebody to invest, purchase, or rent something or buy a service. They are actually getting money from you. They are not there because of how most telemarketing is. You already know this. Most telemarketing is done by me wanting money from you. I want your money. I want your money. Give me money. Give me money. Give me money. We're not doing that. And so this is why it's not, the FCC hasn't changed the law on it, so it's in a gray area. So you're not using an auto dialer, and for the DNC, it's a little different. So that's why no one gets sued for the DNC in wholesaling, unless it's a lawyer who you did something to make them angry.
Right. So when you're cold calling those, you just call right through those DNCers.
I'm not telling you what I do, but it's up to you guys. Like,
well, I was only starting to get even looking into it because I've been texting all the people with upcoming auctions. In Texas, auction is first Tuesday of every month. And so I wait until there's about 1.5, 2 weeks to go. And I hit every single one in the whole state. And those people they're really angry. I mean, they say sometimes 40 calls a day, they get really mad. I get a lot of curse word replies and really angry people telling me they're going to report me and stuff like that. So, those people, they're getting a lot of phone calls. So
I've been threatened to be sued about 1,000 times from calls, and not one lawsuit has been served to me.
Okay, good to know.
We'd like to keep it that way.
I think some of them have actually gone to lawyers and be like, I'm going to sue this guy. And they're like, okay, well, here's a $4,000 invoice. Here's a retainer, and we'll sue this guy for $500.
It's the people who try to do it themselves, the ones. And then when a lot of you guys get chased down from someone goes, if you don't pay me $500, I'm going to pursue you. Do not engage it, because once you engage them, they know you're worried, and they're going to push you for months on end. So if you
I have heard one story of that happening.
Yeah, when you get what I call a hostage pursuant call, ignore it, because you have to have the policy of you can't engage and negotiate with someone like that, because
there's people
they're just trying to extort money. They have nothing better to do. Think about how much time it takes to do that. And I've had people really, they like, I'm going to wear this guy down. The best thing you do is just ignore him.
Well, I want you to understand this too, because I've showed you there's guys on TikToks that will sell templates to send to people. And statistically, if you send about 40 of those out, you'll get one person to send you $500.
They're looking for the scared person.
So they tell you, the TikTok people tell you, if what do I do if they don't respond to me? Well, there's nothing. Well, either you file the $4,000 lawsuit or you don't. And so you're just looking to get someone to send you the $500 because they get you scared.
Settle.
And so they're all templates. So you're fine.
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks so much. I've seen you guys taking these calls, and I was like, man, I need to get on there. So I downloaded my StreamYard today.
I know. So
Brian, just go for it, and then just use the strategies, and then work with your seller. But like, don't be stuck on what you mentally think they're going to accept, because you don't know. You have to solicit that response from the seller to start a negotiation. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right. Okay. Appreciate it. Have a great one, Brian. Oh, awesome. Love it. He's getting ready to go. He's good to go. So good luck to him on the appointment there. So next here we got Anthony. Yo, Anthony, you can hop off if you gotta go.
No, I'm good.
All right. Anthony. Hello. Lois. Bye. Ben.
Hey guys, what's up?
What's up, Mr. Deal?
Wait, I'm sorry?
What's up, Mr. Deal?
Oh, what's the deal? Oh, wait, it didn't show my cat picture. Dang it. Okay. Dang it.
You're good, man.
How you guys doing today?
I'm
great,
good. How
man.
are you?
I woke up with a Charlie horse today. That wasn't fun.
Oh, jeez.
That's not good.
I got a question about, so a natural disaster happened to the county south of me, about 29 minutes away. And I'm wondering how to approach that in getting them to sell the houses. It just recently happened. Relief efforts are on the way right now. And I'm just wondering.
Was it a hurricane?
Tornado.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the question?
So right now I was thinking of cold calling and texting those people, but should I wait a little bit until the insurance stuff finishes, like a month or so?
Yeah, a month, dude. It's like the insurance process is like a year.
Yeah, dude, they're extreme.
I don't go after people that like.
Yeah, it's 90 days minimum. I'm just telling you because it's just. Listen, I get it. I kind of hear where you're going with it, but it ain't gonna work.
It sounds like an opportunity. It's not.
It ain't gonna work, dude. Okay. I'm just telling you, it's complicated. And insurance is such a wreck across this entire country. Insurance companies need to investigate everything. They're trying to always to get out of every claim. It stresses out the homeowner. And so I've been involved in an insurance claim that took 4 years once. 4 years, just to give you an idea, from one hurricane. And so like tornadoes to me are even more complicated because was it the wind? Was it the rain? Did you leave the door open? Was it an Airbnb? Was it a rental property? Did you live there? Did you say you live there? And so the bottom line is the homeowner cannot make a truly educated decision if you approach them right now because they have no idea what they're going to get on a claim. They don't know what the damage is. And honestly, they're just trying to put their lives back together. So you just kind of, once it settles down, maybe after 90 days, you can start a marketing. I actually did a marketing camp. We got hit with so many hurricanes like 15, 16 years ago. We actually came up with like a hurricane like mailer. But honestly, I always try to keep it generic. You know, people try to like focus everything like the hottest trend. And you got to be a cash buyer looking to buy the house. If you try to get real cute and fancy, I'm not specialized in insurance claims. I hate them.
Yeah, I'm not. Don't be chasing people with natural disasters. Do in the areas you do and just do that. Yeah. They will come up naturally. I promise you.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's just, listen, I had that idea too. It just, when you get like real cute with it, like what we went through the last couple of years, either people are looking to sell their house or not. It's never from like one event usually.
Yeah.
That's usually just the tipping point.
And some people just need to go on the market too. So like,
Dude, if your house gets ripped open by a tornado and a guy like you comes knocking at my door, like call, it's going to be a brutal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like you do look. That's what's going to give you a real bad rap as a wholesaler. Even,
Yeah.
but like realtors, I got to tell you, I know realtors that will, the day somebody passes away, they will knock on the door. And I'm just telling, I just think about in your gut, would you do that to your own family? And if you wouldn't do it to them, why would you go and do it to others? So just keep some of your own ethics and your own rules, and it will govern most of the problems we have in wholesaling.
okay. Thank you. I'm sorry about
Okay,
that.
man.
I
That's
saw
okay.
a
You-
nudity from the
Hey,
news.
you don't
and
have
I'm
to need to
like,
apologize. You just,
I like that you're airing the thoughts out, which is a very smart
yeah,
thing to
rather you try it on us than
Yeah.
a tornado
Okay.
victim.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
I
man.
Appreciate it.
think that's it. Thank you.
All right. On top of that too, I don't go after people just for their age. I know people say that. I'm like, I don't think that's a good thing to do. So I'd never do that either. But next year we got KJ.
Hey, what's up, Zach and Rick?
Hey, what's up, KJ?
What's up?
I just got a
Bro, can
property.
you turn the music off? The
Oh,
TV?
Nice.
Oh, shit.
Homie's watching Coco Melon in the background.
Is that Coco
I
Melon?
have no idea.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't even
the
know what that
kids.
is.
They're watching Cocomelon.
How did I do? I just guessed.
That's crazy, man.
Have you ever seen a little kid on Coco Melon?
I thought SpongeBob SquarePants was like the new cutting edge
these
thing. That's how
iPad kids
far.
with Coco Melon's ridiculous.
I'm a Looney Tunes kind of guy.
All right, what's up?
So I just got a property under contract in Dayton off the code violation.
Nice.
The thing is, it's tenants in there, but on the code violation, it says if the seller doesn't fix the property up, that the property is going to be condemned. I'm not sure. Does that have a factor on when I'm selling it to the buyer?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's going to need a lot of work.
Okay.
What's the overriding issue with the property?
So they said, so I actually talked to the tenants. The tenant says the inside, they don't have any insulation. Everything is outdated.
Winter's
And,
coming.
How are they even renting this property? Do they actually pay rent, the tenants?
Yeah, they pay rent.
Oh.
They up to date. They're
Lord.
on government assistance or Social Security, one of them.
No.
And the code violation, it said that it has structural damage. So like it had foundation issues.
This is money.
So
So
you
it's-
can get a report of like the code violation will tell you what it's actually violating, and you're gonna have to share that information with your cash buyers. The fact it's being rented is kind of shocking. When you hear condemning a property, it usually means structurally it's getting ready to fall down. There's been a lot of police reports there, illegal activity, or like it's a health violation. It has to be, by the way, it has to be something major for a city or a town to consider condemning a property, because it's a big venture to do it. So knowing that, I'm just shocked there's a rent and they're paying like any type of money, because I would pay if the property is up to being condemned. So
what's the question?
So I want to know, should I get the contract under the lot value, or since it's going to be condemned, or
It's not going to be condemned. It could,
okay.
right? It's not going to. Like, it's not scheduled to be condemned, or it's not marked condemned yet.
Okay.
So you already know what I'm going to say. Get it for the lowest you possibly can.
Yeah, I got it like around a little over the lot value. I wanted to know, should I get it under?
what's that number, out of curiosity?
So I got it at 20. The lot value is at like 12.
All right. Well, if it's the lowest you can do it.
Do that
Okay.
and just see what happens. But that's like, if you can solve that problem, you should make a lot of money, because you've got a house that's going to be a problem for the city. You got tenants that are upset, and you got a landlord that could lose us an entire investment. And if you can make money doing that, solving basically all four people's problems, that's what wholesaling is about, guys. That's what we do. Period.
Exactly.
Okay. And I just have one more question. So right now I'm doing texting. I want to know, should I like branch off into cold calling? Would that be a better way of marketing?
Yeah. I mean, I'm never going to say no to cold calling.
Okay. All right.
Right? It just helps you get more sellers and get more deals. Why not?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right. Have a
Same.
good one, man. Boom. All right. Next we got Mike.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good. How are you?
Good, man.
Mike's an investor.
Want to let you guys know, yeah, it's the shirt that when I'm driving for dollars for people that come out, like neighbors and stuff, and they're like, "Why are you looking at that house?" When you wear this, people, they don't even come up to and talk to you.
Cool.
Then, because you kind of let them know what you're doing. So, anyway, it's just something I found. Two things. One, I found your guys' stuff probably a year ago, and I'd say I watched at least one video a day.
Nice.
Part of it is motivation. Part of it is I've been doing this almost as long as Rick has been doing it, but you get little tweaks every once in a while from different people, and I can't tell you how many little things I've picked up. And a little thing that turned out to be a big thing is I never went back and asked anybody for a price reduction, and I did it 2 weeks ago. Got my first one.
Yeah.
You got to make that a
20
habit.
years of doing this, and I never did it before.
Yeah, it's well, ideally you'd like to get the right price like the first time, but if we all try to write the perfect offers, like it's tough. So me and him miss all the time. Like you guys don't see it, but like there's Michael Jordan doesn't make every shot. You just got to stay active. And then my whole theory, guys, if you have a motivated property, meaning it's run down and they're talking to you, but they're not quite motivated, help them out, figure it out, get it under contract at the longer inspection period, and help educate them why you can only pay this much for the property. And sometimes it just takes time and reasoning and having them to get to know you. I don't think it's unethical unless that's your strategy on every property. So good going. Another tip for you. So, Mike, I love your shirt and stuff like that. I would not wear that when you're out looking at properties because I never want people to know like kind of what I'm doing.
Right.
Here's the problem is I can't tell you how many properties I've gone out and look at it. I go over the neighbor or the neighbor usually comes out to me when I come out and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And like our ego says, I'm trying to better my life. I'm an investor trying to make money on the property and solve a problem, right? That's the truth of what we're doing. The minute you do that, the FOMO kicks in on the neighbor and they have a better rapport with them than you do.
Oh yeah.
And they write a contract. They have no ability to close it because they feel like they're missing out.
Yeah.
They feel like they got an inside job because there's an investor there. So whenever a neighbor comes up to me and they go, "Well, what are you doing here?" I go, I'm just eyeballing the property. Like I'm just concerned citizen.
Right.
The minute you say you're an investor, like people come out of realtors come out of the woodwork, competition comes out. And that's the only thing I'm kind of telling you because I've been snaked on a lot of properties. And sometimes when you're quiet and you keep what your mission is inside and you get intel from other people, if you show your cards, which I know a lot of us want to do, it can actually work against you. One of our biggest arguments is, well, my neighbor wants to buy the house. I've had a relationship in 20 years and they saw you were an investor and they'd like to at least counter that offer. They don't have the ability to buy the house or do what we do. So that's just a tip. Do what you want with it. It's a free world. I love the shirt. I got to get one myself there. But the problem, man, neighbors, man, the minute they feel like someone's buying the house, they're like, "Honey, we got to buy the property. There's an investor over there. It means he's making money."
I've had so many deals where the neighbor has it under contract or the tenants have it under contract and they're trying to get a loan and they go through the whole underwriting process to get denied the loan because they already own a house.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid. But a lot of these people think that they're just going to get another loan and they're going to rent it out and it's their next door house. And then on the day the underwriting doesn't go through, lock it up. And unfortunately, it happens all the time because I offer 150 and the neighbor offers 240. And I'm like, you know what? Fine. You lock it up for 240. I don't get freaked out. It comes in and then underwriting doesn't even make it to appraisal. And then they're like, "Sorry, we couldn't buy it."
But what triggers that is they see it like they go, "Hey, I saw this guy walking around the house. He said he's an investor. We should call Sally and just get an offer." And she knows us. She'd sell it to us. And they ride it. And then the property sits around for months. They don't have the ability to close it because they don't understand having two mortgages and it really needs cash to close. So just a little tip. I lost probably.
We're going to pass an inspection on all these houses. So.
I probably lost 10 or 12 deals because I did exactly like what you did. So I'm just giving you like a little tip on it because it's neighbors, man. They have the ability to disseminate information faster in the internet. I don't know how they do it, but
yeah, price reductions though. they work pretty well. As if you did that tip I kind of said before the last person, it's like, I always tell our sellers like, hey, you know, I don't know if I can do that price, but you're so stuck on it. I'm gonna have to bring this, and get this guy. And then I just gotta get intel from the buyer of what it really needs. And then I can do a reduction if I have to from there.
Well, I want to apologize to you up front because you're my bad guy.
I love it. I should be the bad guy.
You make him your bad guy, right?
My partner, Zach, man, he just won't buy for that price.
Dude, it works though, right? It works like crazy.
And you got to sigh. I've listened to your calls a lot, and I can always hear that, oh, I don't know. I talked to my partner, Zach, and he's just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice when somebody else
Once I started doing that,
else.
the amount of deals we've done skyrockets. Like the profit per deal, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So you guys, you have to have a reason to get a reduction. If your plan is just to get a reduction every time, somebody tried to coin phrase it like the haircut. And I'm just telling you, like, if a seller gives you a smoking price, don't ask them for a haircut. It's embarrassing. Like, honor your commitment to deal. But like, if you know the deal's really tight and you've warned them up front, then I'm all about it. I said, listen, I'll do that price if everything checks out. You know for a fact it's not going to check out. And then that's how I try to help sellers help themselves, because I've watched them enter in. We had a seller enter in like 5 contracts, same thing. And I'm like, let me just walk them down the aisle and explain to them why I can't do it. It just took time and we got it. So I love your strategy in doing it, because once you do it once, you know, your mindset is like, okay, I can do this. And I will tell you this, Mike, I've been doing this 20 years. I never stopped learning like this business. I learned something new, not every day, but like every other day.
Yeah.
And like this kid's taught me a lot. So it takes a lot to learn from someone significantly younger than you, especially that are your own. But like, he looks at stuff differently than I do, because you and me been looking at like the wholesaling industry for 20 years. And sometimes we get stuck on our ways. Like, I consider myself like an older person, but and so sometimes like today's youth, you can look at stuff in a different lens. I go, and he used to say, why do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. And that's how we've done a lot of our teaching, and our course structure is we challenge each other all the time. And we practice on our customers. Sometimes I go, hey, let's give this a shot and see if it'll work. And that's how you learn. And like, I get excited about learning wholesaling, because anyone who tells you, hey, I know it all, you can only learn from these set amount of people, run, because that's not true. That's how dictatorships work. We are a free, open society. We want you to learn from us. And what you guys don't understand, by us talking to each and every one of you, we actually learn a lot too.
Oh yeah.
And apply it in our own business. So this is what do they call it? A symbiotic relationship too.
Yeah.
What you learn from us, we learn just as much from you.
Well, on this particular deal, what it was is I negotiated the price, sight unseen. And it was a probate deal, and the seller was from out of state. So she didn't have like a lockbox or anything, and she was flying down here. And again, it's part of what we do. I mean, this was a probate deal, so there was a lot of emotion involved.
Mm-hmm.
But I told her we negotiated the price, but I said I'm giving this price sight unseen, but I've got to I've got to walk through it and see it.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening is I did the walk. She flew down. I did the walkthrough, and the carpet is lived on. If it was a rental, you could probably keep it, but if you're going to flip it to an end buyer, probably going to need carpet. So that's how I went back and got my price reduction is just walking through. And of course, the house was also painted like somebody that was living there that was older, where you've got different color rooms and stuff like that. And on a flip, you want to have that off gray thing for the whole house. But it doesn't need it. It's really a pretty house.
Yeah. There's so many excuses right now to get a reduction. I get a reduction for anything, like I've done it so many times, but really what I've always found is you got the reduction done, but like most of the time sellers are okay with a reduction. Like it's kind of weird to say, and I don't use an excuse to always get a reduction, but you kind of already got them with the contract. It's like, all right, whatever.
And they don't want to go through the entire process again. And if you haven't burned them and you've been respectful to them, they know if it's sticking and it's not moving. Like they're like, I just want it sold. Like, okay, it will. And they'll say, will that get it done? It's like, but I like to have a reason to go in for a reduction. It's kind of easier. So I've had people try to teach me this business. So like, you got to ask everybody like the day of closing for a reduction. I go, dude, that's ethically and morally wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry. If they didn't disclose something to you, that's a different story, but that's trickery. And that's just really greed. So it sounds like you're using it the right way. And now like you're really open to it. So just like keep doing what you're doing. And you get me excited when you say probate, out of state owner, like vacant and outdated. Like those are the best deals around.
Yeah.
I love them.
And the thing about it is you go through a lot of the rejection when you call on these people and they're, you're a vulture, blah, 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 blah. But when you get the one person who just wants to offload a house because it's a real pain in the butt for them and they're dealing with crazy heirs and all that stuff, you're really doing them a service. And that's really, when I get those nasty phone calls, you just don't understand. And
me and him, we just kind of laugh about it when we do it. We're just like, it's entertaining. And he does it live, like unscheduled. He doesn't do real estate agents either. Cold calling real estate agents is not, when one agent calls another, it's like a lawyer calling a lawyer. But like when you call, regular FSBOs and stuff like that, man, you got to be a tough person, but like you can't let what people say bother you, because who cares? Does it really change your day? And if you let it wear on you, then it affects your family and affects your outlook on the business. Whereas you go, listen, I called 200 people, but I got 4 people who want to like do a deal with me. That's it. You got to concentrate on the 4. The other 196, what was it? Water off a duck's back, right? You got to let it go, because it will ruin your day. Every day is a choice if you want to be happy or not. It's your decision. If you let somebody else influence if you're going to be happy or not, especially in a cold calling environment, it's really tough to cold call.
I can absolutely tell you though, but for anybody that's not doing probates, once you start doing probates, get used to talking to lawyers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I remember we always just try to beat the lawyer. If you can beat the lawyer, then great. But a lot of times you have to work with them.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of, and they're slow, and
slow's not even the word. It's like what do they call it? It's a sloth, right? Like the other one just goes like, I go, dude, it's just a document. Send it over. Let's get it signed. Like 2 weeks goes by just to send one document. DocuSign's crazy. But
FYI, using that tone with them slows it down.
I never use that tone with them.
But I'm just saying, don't.
I know that's just what I'm thinking. So
and me too.
I know it's painful, man. That's why I try not to let them be in control.
Question. The thing about it is obviously the market has changed, given what's going on. Are you guys still doing JV deals?
We do JV deals. It just got to be the right deal.
We're more selective about it, because the thing is the deals are, I mean, like our volume's tripled, and it takes works to vet them all and to underwrite them. And so I'm interested in doing a deal with anyone who has a deal. So the problem is most people have a different definition of a deal. If you go all the way through the free wholesaling and what we're looking for motivated sellers, not just a little bit off a price. It's got to make sense, because if you truly want to do a partnership, there's got to be enough money to pay both parties. And that's just the truth.
Yeah. Can I give you some numbers?
For what? A deal?
For the deal.
Sure.
Shoot.
3-bedroom, 2-bath in a subdivision of Orlando on the west side. And basically a conservative supported by comparables is 291. And I've got it under contract for 210.
Okay. And why?
And it may need carpet, it may not. So I put in $5,000 for the carpet.
Is that a property you have under contract right now?
It is.
All right. And do you live in Orlando?
I don't. I'm in between Tampa and Orlando.
Okay.
So here's the challenge with that property. Like if I shoot it over the bow, it passed the snuff test. But if it needs more repairs than like what you deemed it be, and the only way is by somebody going out and taking a look at the property, and that comes the challenge, because if there's an extra 20, 30 grand of repairs, that's not a deal,
right?
And then so that's where it comes down to. I love everybody doing virtually. We teach it, but sometimes it comes down to like getting boots on the ground and who's going to do it, because I'm certainly not going to do it. Zach's not going to do it.
Yeah,
and that's the chat. And then we put the numbers together. It's not there. I've paid, $200 or $300 to underwrite the deal and try to go through thousands of these like that. So Now we only look at the ones that just stand out, like flashing with a neon sign. Like,
You can send them. We can do the comps. Do you know how to DM me?
I just got accepted about an hour ago with my own personal account, so I can message you now.
Okay. Go send it over.
so here's my rule to everyone. Send me something over that makes so much sense. I'm an idiot for not doing it. And because the thing is, if you just get like a 25% discount, once we verify it and stuff, and it's not quite that, it winds up being a slightly discounted retail deal. There's just not much we can do it. The cash buyers are smart these days.
Oh yeah.
So that's, if we do that, we're dogtailing, which means we're chasing yesterday's real estate prices. And we can't do that. We know our sellers are doing it. We can't do it. So when it comes to me, it's a quick decision. And a lot of times it's just, no, I don't waste time. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Like, hey, this is not a deal. This is what you need to do. So
well, one of the things I always do with my properties, I do a walkthrough video.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll email you a link to the walkthrough video so you can just watch it on the video.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And then the other thing is, if a cash deal doesn't work out, because I've contacted everybody on my list and my list has changed, but then I'm going to have to go back to the seller and talk her into an owner financing deal, just for like a 5-year deal, you know, where she owner finances it. So I'm trying to get a cash deal done to get this just be done with it. But if that doesn't work, then I'll probably have to go the owner financing route.
Yeah. I mean, just look at it. Most wholesalers, they get a deal under contract. They bring it to 10 buyers. 10 buyers say it's too high. Then they bring it to us because they feel like we can find a sucker.
And that's what bogs us down terribly.
If it's still a deal, then we can do it, right? But like if buyers have already contacted you and said it's not a deal, then there's not much we can do because we go back to all the buyers and ask them.
And I'm probably going to be harder than your regular buyer because I look at every.
Still send it. We can still look at it.
Yeah, we look at it. I want to make it work. I don't want to waste people's time. That's the main thing.
The buyers that I have on my list are saying that they're only buying stuff at 50 cents on the dollar now.
Well, see, those are the crazy buyers.
And that's why
they're doing what sellers were doing the last 3 years, and now you're getting the buyers. There's going to be some balance coming out there. Yeah. You just got to sort through more buyers that are realistic on their numbers.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, I appreciate the time. Love you guys. Like I said, I feel like you guys are brothers of mine because I watch videos every day. You don't have any idea who I am.
We do now. So I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you.
And now you are part of the video.
What's that?
You are part of the video forever.
Permanently burnt in, man.
Last question for Rick. When we go scuba diving down in your area of the Florida?
So I do a lot of fishing. And because I do a lot of fishing, I will not scuba dive because the monsters I see, you don't even want to touch around here. So
you don't like to go fish hunting?
I'm not a spear fisherman. It's just because I don't like holding my breath. And number two, I don't like sharks chasing a fish I've speared and me running for my life. Do you know how many divers I've saved from like shark attacks on the fish? We have a massive shark problem here. We have a massive Goliath Grue problem here. And I can barely get the fish in the water without the 15 sharks. I don't want to jump in the water with those 500 and 700 pound sharks. Dude, they are all over. I get them like right even behind my house. It's ridiculous. I have a big problem with sharks, man. The apex predator and nobody's eating them or like taking care of it. So that's a hard no, man. Sorry.
All right.
Go fishing.
Very cool. See you guys.
Go fishing, love, man. See you, man. Appreciate it, Mike.
Man, you can talk about sharks forever.
I got a problem, man. Those things, they are getting bold, buddy.
Yeah. So, guys, that is our plan for 2023 for market domination, how to dominate wholesaling real estate. Guys, if you got any value from this video, do us a big favor. Make sure you go to freewholesaling.com or free real estate wholesaling course. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and you'll be here tomorrow. So,
I'll be here tomorrow, guys.
Appreciate it.